Okay, Alexander, let's discuss the EU. And I guess this is related to the EU Recovery Fund. That's what they call it. We call it the EU Slush Fund. But in that video, we discussed perhaps the most susceptible country that's going to be in need of a lot of euros in order to survive. An amount of euros that the Recovery Fund, the Slush Fund, will not be able to cover, and that is Italy. So Italy is in big trouble. The Recovery Fund will not be able to save Italy. What is Italy asking for? What does it need? Can it be saved? An Italy that cannot be saved is, in my opinion, the end of the European Union.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, because Italy is a big country. I mean, it's got a big population. It's got a big economy. It's got the biggest industrial base in Europe, in the EU, after Germany. So we're talking about, an absolutely pivotal country within the European Union. What has happened is this: Italy's costs have exploded as a result of the CV crisis. So Italy, which had its state debt to GDP ratio was about it owed about 130% of its GDP. That's apparently risen now to 160%. But what also has happened, and this is so extraordinary that apparently the Italian government wasn't even, fully awake about this, is that it seems that a lot of that debt is due to mature at the end of this year. We're talking about $30-40 billion of debt, and Italy just doesn't have the money to pay it. So what are they going to do? Now, the EU Recovery Fund, which isn't a recovery fund, as we said, it's a slush fund, it doesn't start getting paid. Money doesn't start coming out of it before 2021 or even 2022. This money that's maturing, these debts which are maturing at the end of this year. On top of that, it turns out, people have now drilled into the actual, details of this recovery fund. And it turns out that, every country has to pay contributions to it. And of course, Italy is also a net contributor to the budget. So when you do the calculations, it turns out that because various parts of the EU budget are going to be cut to make up for this recovery fund, Italy will actually be the loser. It will actually be putting in more than it is taking out. So even on that basis, it doesn't really work. And it also turns out that before it can get its grants or its loans, those have to be approved by the European Commission. So, you don't just give the money to Italy, which then decides to spend on it what it wants. You have to actually get the EU Commission to agree to let you spend the money and to approve your grants or loans before you get it. So it isn't going to work. The EU Recovery Fund isn't going to help Italy. It's going to make Italy's situation worse. And at the same time, they're facing this massive financial shortfall at the end of this year. So what do they do? Well, it's now being suggested by people like Matteo Renzi, who was the former neoliberal prime minister of Italy, who was in power until the Five-Star Coalition and Salvini won the election a couple of years back. He is suggesting that the only solution is for Italy to go back to the European Stability Mechanism, the same fund that was set up way back in 2011-12, borrow from that, and of course you're subject to all the conditions that go with that, and you have the Troika appointed to regulate your affairs, and we're all the way back to 2011-12. All of those systems that were created then will come immediately back into place. Now, whether the Italian people have grasped this, understand that this is where all this is heading, I'm not sure. But apparently the Italian government has now suddenly awakened to this. And it seems they're in a panic. There is some suggestion that they're trying to look to the European Central Bank to try and help them out. by buying Italian debt and helping them to roll over. But it seems that the sums of money involved are so enormous that it's coming up against the technical barriers of what even the Christine Lagarde is able to sort of get away with. So it might not be possible to do it through the European Central Bank. And of course, if they turn to the European Stability Mechanism and they get troikas appointed to regulate Italy, and we get to all of that, then of course we have a political crisis in Italy, the like of which we have not seen.
Okay, so let me tackle Lagarde first before I get into the ESM, which means more austerity. And
absolutely.
We've lived through austerity. I've lived through it in 2 countries, so I know exactly what that means. But Lagarde, if Lagarde does decide to pull Italy out of it, what does it mean, though, for the ECB? What are the repercussions?
Well, it means vast amounts of money, far more money printing. And, of course, it would be money printing basically to bail out Italy. Now, bear in mind, we've had a decision from the German Constitutional Court which suggests that this is illegal. So the German federal authorities are supposed to provide an explanation to the German Constitutional Court as to why they're allowing it to happen. So far, there's been no indication of what they're going to say. So, Germany is beginning to feel, German opinion is beginning to rebel against this move. And at the same time, it seems that within the European Central Bank itself, the representatives on its board of the more frugal, conservative northern countries, Germany, the Netherlands, Finland, whatever, are also beginning to come along and say, this is going too far. We can't allow this any further. So it's not clear that Christine Lagarde, if she decides to print vast sums of money to buy up Italy's debt, would be able to take her board with her, or would, and she might face problems with Germany if she continues. But let's assume that she does do it. Then, of course, you're going to get a situation where the ECB's money printing is going to be running out of control because they're going to be bailing out Italy. And the scale of Italy's debts are so enormous that it's, the mind boggles.
What does that mean, though? What does that mean for the everyday German citizen, for the everyday Dutch citizen, for the everyday Greek citizen? What does it mean practically? Because they're printing money. I mean, they are just printing money everywhere in the world.
But bear in mind, you see, the point about printing money like that is that the only reason why it still circulates and has stability is because countries of Europe lie behind it. So at some point, with all this vast amount of money printing that's going on, there will come a point where the financial markets, where the people will say, well, the European Central Bank is piling up all these sort of bad assets everywhere. What underpins it? Germany underpins it. Finland underpins it. Greece underpins it. Even Italy underpins it. How do they underpin it? By paying taxes. And then you start getting more movement towards a centralized tax structure. This is running out of the point where it can be done in a stealth way. And I'm not the only person who says this, because it's becoming too much and it's too precarious. And we saw how the German Constitutional Court is reacting very negatively towards it. Bear something else in mind. More money printing means lower interest rates. Interest rates in Europe are already negative. And that is having severe implications in countries like Germany, where people are not able to put their money in the bank, as they've always been able to do up to now, and see that money grow. So you're getting lots and lots of problems. And I think that if Christine Lagarde does go down this road, which I think, by the way, she will try to, at least to some extent, then it increases, it brings on the day when public opinion in Germany will rebel, as it very nearly did before the CV crisis struck.
The ESM, going to the ESM route, that means austerity for the Italian people.
Well,
Correct?
good. Well, absolutely. I mean, there's no other way. I mean, it would definitely mean austerity for the Italian people, on top of the austerity that's already been, on top of the fact that Italy is already got a smaller economy than it had when it joined the euro. So it's Italy goes further backwards. I think that the point has been reached in Italy, by the way, when the Italian population would rebel against this.
Government falls, in other words.
Government falls, new elections, Salvini wins. And
And what does that mean?
well, that's what I think the European authorities are frightened of, because, of course, if Salvini wins, he has made it fairly clear at various times that he is not so committed to the euro as some people are. And that creates all kinds of crises within the European system. So they're going to do everything they can to prevent Salvini winning. So we'll see what they do. I mean, ESM, find some way around the ESM, find some way to bring forward money from the recovery mechanism. Apparently very difficult, and the Dutch might reject it. Or will they go down the route of financing Italy through the European Central Bank? We will see. But what all of this shows is what a complete and total mess the European system has become.
Yeah, it's just,
yeah.
I think that once again, Merkel will find a way to plug up this hole.
Yeah.
And of course, it's going to lead to more problems down
Absolutely.
the road.
But
it's like the dam has so many holes in it, and they're just trying to plug it up with their hands, and another hole pops up when they put their hand on that one. Another water breaks through from a different area. It's just it's not going to end.
That's exactly what they're doing. I mean, they're acting like emergency plumbers, trying to sort of plug the holes in the dike as it sort of crumbles around them. At the moment, they're just about holding it together. But there will come a point where the dam will burst. I mean, it can't go on like this indefinitely. You solve one problem at the same time, by doing that, you're creating another bigger problem. And then you solve that problem and you get an even bigger problem. And there will come a point in time where all of these problems will become completely uncontrollable, and they will probably all hit at the same time. That's the way it works.
Is it possible for Italy to go back to the Lira?
Yes, absolutely. Of course it is. Let's be very clear about this. Italy is a big country. Of course it can do it. There would be disruption. There would be all kinds of problems. But we mustn't let ourselves, as people talk in Britain, you remember before Brexit, people mustn't be frightened by these scare stories. Yes, there would be 6 months or so, perhaps a year of disturbance, but then things would settle down and Italy would be able to move forward. At this moment in time, it's going backwards.
And that would also be the end of the common currency, I think.
Oh,
if a country can do it.
Absolutely. Well, it would be. I mean, if Italy pulled out, especially if it was a country the size of Italy, if Italy pulls out of the euro, the whole thing crashes down. I mean, there's no way you could sustain it if Italy left. I mean, with Greece, it would have been possible. In fact, I think it would have happened. If Tsipras had taken Greece out of the Eurozone in 2015, Greece would have survived. Oh, sorry, the Eurozone would have survived. If Italy's taken out, the whole thing crashes. I don't think it's possible for it to do otherwise.
All right. Interesting development. Alexander Mercouris, Editor-in-Chief of the Duran. Thank you very much, guys. If you like this video, click on the subscribe button down below. Hit that like button as well. Drop us a comment. We like to read your comments. Also, please donate to us on PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribe Star. Send us some Italian liras, because I think they're going to be in use in the near future. So send us some liras and help out this channel as well. And go to the Duran shop, pick up some merchandise. We have magic mugs. We have new T-shirts.
We have amazing new magic mugs.
Which one do you have there?
Well, I have our own magic mug, and I've got the US. Of course I do. Of course I've got the US. I've got Greece. I've got Russia. And these are the new mugs with Russia, and I've got Australia, which is a country I have a great affection for, by the way, as many people in Britain do. Britain, I think we have somewhere else. My wife is probably drinking coffee.
I've also added Alexander, Italy. So we've done a video on Italy. So I've added an Italian mug. I've added Ireland. Today I added Armenia. I added Syria. I added Mexico. I added India. I've got Poland on the way.
Yeah.
What else? I added Austria. Sweden is on the way as well. So I've been getting a lot of recommendations, and I've been putting up those country flags on our mugs. I added Germany. So we talked about Germany and Italy. I also added Germany as well.
Well, there we go. I mean, anybody, if they go to the shop and they can't find a flag, then wait a little, because as you can hear, Alex is coming up with all sorts of new mugs with new flags. But if you still can't find it, then by all means suggest it, and we will do it. I mean, we're very, very happy to do it. Can I just remind our viewers, these are the best mugs in the world, 15 ounces, beautifully made, and I speak as the world expert on the subject, having drunk from probably thousands of mugs over the course of my lifetime. So they're the best mugs anywhere. They're getting better. We've got more and more flags, and we've also got enameled mugs now. They're just phenomenal. And then we don't just have mugs in our shop. We've also got shirts of various descriptions, polo shirts, T-shirts, long sleeve, short sleeve, V-neck shirts, tank tops. They're all amazing shirts. And those too, Alex has been adding new lines. So just there you go. He's got, and that's with Canada, I think. Is it Canada? So there you go. So you can go to our shop. You can find all sorts of amazing shirts there. And we've also got hats, hoodies, and stickers, and an ever-expanding library of ebooks. So you can go to our shop, get these great things, support the Duran, be the proud owner, and Alex will remind you how to do it.
Just go to the duranshop.com. You'll find a link underneath this video. Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Thank you very much. Until next time, everybody, take care.